All right. In today's video, I'm not really sure. And I believe I start every video off uncertain on where this is going to lead, and I think that's the best part of it because I really don't know. I always come up with just ideas and do some research when nothing really comes to me in my meditation. So today I kind of looked up NLP, kind of maybe talk a little bit more about it, a little bit more in depth about it. So the when I put it in a thing, it talks about like communication. Like we really have to pay attention to the things we say to ourselves and the things that we keep saying over and over. Like a belief that we keep saying it. Money doesn't grow on trees, and it's like all these beliefs we've had beaten to our head over the years. And so we just believe them to be true, and then we keep saying them over and over, and then, you know, and then they just become real. So I feel like that's like one of the main keys is paying attention to the language you use that you talk about yourself. And I did read somewhere too that Bruce Lee said, "Don't even make jokes about yourself because your brain doesn't know the difference." And that's what the neuro linguistic programming is, like retraining your brain to think differently. And then when you retrain your brain and you start using different language, then you're able to do different things. Like you'll create different patterns, neural connections that weren't there before. Now, again, it's a process, and you have to become aware of these things first. That's why I always talk about paying more attention to the thoughts that are going on in your head, the beliefs, and all the maybe negative self-talk that you may have. I know I've had it. I'm getting better at it. But if we're not aware of it, and we just keep saying it as if, oh, it's no big deal, it's just that's just the way it is. And then I've said that to myself for other times. It's the government's fault. It's the weather's fault. It's the other person's fault. It's the boss's fault. And again, they may play a role in everything. These things may play a role in everything, but you always have a choice to do something different, to fight through the weather, to do things and create better skills, like go after different things. Like if you're not surviving and you're not doing well enough financially, then find some other ways to do the things. Like for me, I used to always complain about it. And now I find myself saying, hey, how can I be better? The government, the stock market, the tariffs, and all that stuff's going to keep happening regardless of what we do. We can't control what the government does. We can only control over our own voting patterns and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're always going to do whatever it is. So if we continue to blame everything on outside sources, then we don't take responsibility for our own actions. And again, it's not easy, and sometimes that pattern's been there for years. It took me a long time to realize that I had have to start doing more. That's why I started doing this stuff. That's why I started researching this stuff. And over the years, I've been able to change some of these patterns. Now, again, I'm not where I want to go, but I'm way closer than I was a few years ago. Because again, like my coach always tells me, she's like, you're definitely a different person than you were when I first started coaching you. You just sometimes don't see it yourself because we tend to be so hard on ourselves. So again, it all starts with awareness. That's why I'm trying to teach this stuff so I can like help people become more aware to pay attention to the things you say to yourself. The universe is a mirror. Whatever you say, whatever you do, it just brings it back to you. That's what you attract. And you gotta get that negativity and those limiting beliefs out of your system, out of your body. And there are tools to do it. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I know Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about a lot of stuff. He was saying, like, if you want to create a loving relationship, love yourself first. And a lot of people don't realize how to do that. It's like even take like he was I was uh, listening to one of his videos yesterday, and he talks about just placing your hand on your heart and closing your eyes and feel that love in your own heart. Like feel it, be it. I mean, maybe even tell yourself you love yourself, and then just keep it going. and like do it, practice it every day. He says do it for 20 minutes, but I mean, obviously that's a hard thing to do for some people. But I would think even doing it for 5 minutes a day would probably help a little bit. And then maybe the more you do it, you might want to continue to do it. So what else did I write here? Yeah, and because again, we always think that we got to get these things from outside ourselves to feel it, but we can create that from the inside. Just by placing your hand on your heart and closing your eyes and feeling love, you can feel it. And then when you do that, you start to build that feeling on the inside. You start to feel better about yourself. And then when you start to talk better about yourself, instead of calling yourself stupid or I'm not capable of doing this, I can't do that, start saying, I got this. I can figure this out. There's got to be a way other people are doing it. There has to be a way to get this done. There has to be. Because it's just that if we don't know something and we're not aware of it, then we can't change it. And I know change is one of the things that we all hate, and I get it. But the thing is, I heard this somewhere before. I don't remember who said it, but it's like that's the only thing in life that's constant is change. It's always changing. It's just whether or not if we flow with the river of change or try to fight and swim upstream. And again, some people do it their whole lives, and whatever it is, what it is. But you know, so again, if you want to get somewhere different, you got to start thinking different. You got to start doing something different. And if you can start thinking different, then your actions will be something different. When I used to think this stuff was bolt BS, I wouldn't do anything. And then finally, when I changed my mind and said, you know what, maybe there is something about this. I all of a sudden during the pandemic came across the Tony Robbins video. I had like just pushed him away and not wanted to do like pay attention to his work for so long, and then, because I thought he was a rah rah cheerleader guy with all the jumping around he does. And then, a few years later, I find myself jumping around and understand. Now I understand why he does it. Because you got to change that language, you got to change that energy in yourself and emotion, energy, and motion in your body. That like it supplants it in your body, like all the jumping around and like movement and emotion. Even like working out's good too. It helps you change it helps break those patterns of negative beliefs and negative self-talk and negative energy that we've had in our nervous systems from the experiences we've had in the past. So it's a way to break those patterns of development and start to, develop new ones. Again, this has taken time, and it's not like it's been easy. It's been difficult at times. I've wanted to quit several times, but then I find myself right back to it, and I haven't been able to do it yet. Even like doing videos, I find days I don't want to do them. This video I'm doing way at night. Usually I do them when I first wake up, but then all of a sudden I was like, all right, let's just get on here and do one. Why not? But there's always that internal struggle, that internal fight that's going on inside of us from what we want to do and what we should be doing, and we gotta find a way to overcome that. And like I think I talked about it in a video before where sometimes you just got to learn how to do it regardless. I didn't feel like doing any of this. And then I did my meditation, and then all of a sudden, like at the end of the meditation, it just a relaxed calmness came over me. I kind of got some energy. And then I started doing a little bit of research about NLP. And then I got a few like points here that I'm looking at that I kind of thought would be good to go over in a video. So again, it's that process, it's that change, it's that just getting started. Because you can't get anywhere if you don't start. I mean, you just have to do something little by little, no matter what's going on in your life, even when, the storm's happening. We all have storms in our lives and stuff that happens to us, and we got to learn how to push through anyway and bend, don't break, and keep keep fighting and keep going. So again, that communication's a good thing to start. That's definitely a good one. That's changing thought patterns, which reframe negative thought patterns into positive ones, promoting well-being. See, it's not it's going to take a time. It's not going to happen overnight, but when the awareness is there And then in moments start to catch yourself. That's when you're starting to do the work. Don't be mad if you're still having negative thoughts, but when you start to become aware and catch yourself in that, negative thought pattern. Like I notice sometimes I'll get like negative thoughts will come, and the next thing you know it snowballs, and then I'm like, Jesus, I gotta stop here. Like, oh, what am I doing, Jesus? Thanks for helping me become more aware. But and that's where it all starts, is those little things, and it takes time. But that awareness, that realization, then you can start to say, all right, that not every thought we have in our brain is true. I was just reading something about, like, when you're about to start to take a big growth, that the ego puts all these negative thoughts in your head to try to stop you from doing it, because it thinks it's gonna, it's not gonna be in control anymore of your lives. That's why they always depict the little devil and angel on your shoulders. It's like the devil's the ego and the angel's the higher self, and they're always in battle with each other. And you got to like learn how to let the ego be like, all right, listen, we don't, none of that's, half of that's not even true, maybe all of it's not even true. And that's like a good thing to ask too. Like sometimes when you're having negative thoughts, ask yourself, is these thoughts that I'm having actually true? And a lot of times you're probably going to see that they're not. So again, it all has to start somewhere, and it all has to start with the awareness of trying to catch yourself in negative patterns, become aware of your negative beliefs, and realize that if other people are doing it, we can do it too. We're capable of changing our brains. It just takes time and effort. And then, like, the other thing is setting goals. Like, provide provide like a clear aim of where you want to go. You put something here like, write down what you are seeking, and acknowledge it within yourself. What you're seeking is already in there. You just need to clear away the stuff and create that awareness from within. And that's what meditation does, is it helps you relax your mind, slow your body down, slow these like negative thinking patterns down by changing your brain waves from beta to alpha. And then it also helps you get through that, your ego and your intellectual mind, and realize that, get to deeper levels of your soul. And then you'll start, and sometimes when you do when you do the meditation, you'll start to, some of these negative thoughts and beliefs will start to come to the surface. And that's where the awareness comes. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza always says, meditation is to become familiar with. And I feel like that's how we learn, is that we meditate and go within and find out what is going on in our beings, what is going on in our heads, that actually might be stopping us from going where we want to go. And two is we also have to put that aim out to where it is we do want to go. Because if we don't have an aim, my aim is to help as many people as I can, and help this stuff get out there more, and help my channel get going so I can get more people interested in it. And then create some of the, I did a little bit about the Dr. Joe thing today, but create more ways of journaling, more ways of meditation, get a little deeper on all this stuff. Maybe create an exercise for the do, so people can learn, because it's helped me over the years. And you just start to feel different when you start to put in the work and write things down, meditate, write goals down, start paying attention to the beliefs in your head, start paying attention to your negative thoughts, start becoming aware of them at the time, and then just start to focus on all that stuff little by little. Even just paying attention to it helps. And then you can say, hey, you know what, maybe all these things, all these beliefs aren't true. Maybe money does grow on trees. I mean, maybe we can create it, who knows? Maybe we can. I mean, we can create it. Obviously, people do, but you have to see yourself as already doing it, and not have those negative beliefs towards it. Like, money is the root of all evil. Well, maybe it is if you use it in a bad way, but I mean, money's good. I want to become abundant so I can give more away, and help more people, and help show people the way. And so again, it's not the root of all evil. Like, there's some people are evil with it and do bad things with it, but then some people just want it so they can have financial freedom. They can do whatever they want. What's wrong with that? I believe we live in an abundant society, an abundant world, regardless of what the outside circumstances are telling us. I think sometimes they tell us that just to keep us where we're at, instead of letting us believe that we can do anything and we can achieve anything, as long as we have the right mindset, the right focus, and the right energy. And there are ways to do these things. So maybe this is my message to you guys to you know open your minds up into the idea that all this stuff is possible, and that over time, and patterns can change, and you can become more, and you can do other things, and I'll keep saying it again and again. I know I repeat this all the time, but like Jim Rohn says, don't ask for things to be easier, ask yourself to be better. Take on that challenge, take on those things of, hey, let's do this. Hey, how can I be better? How can I change myself in a world that's always changing? So why resist it? So, well, that's my message for today. Like and subscribe the video, share them if you can. I will repeat all this stuff because, like I said before, it's good to hear it over and over and over again, because it also helps you change the mind by these repetition of everything. I try to add more things every day, and I try to add a little bit to it. So I'll keep doing that. But at the end of the day, you just see, it starts with you, like Trent Sheldon says. You have to get to that point where you want to try to do something more and do something different and become someone that maybe you thought wasn't even possible, but is possible. All right, have a good day, guys.